Yes, we are live.
Yes, so welcome everybody. Welcome to the SDG Global Festival of Action, and also welcome to this session, Local4Action Hub, the power of local transformation through the SDGs. Some of you are joining us inside of this webinar, and some other participants are joining us from the festival virtual event platform. So welcome everybody. Before we start our session, we want to give some housekeeping that has been provided to us by the UN SDG Action Campaign team. Please note that this session is part of the SDG Global Festival of Action. So if you are joining here directly in Zoom, we strongly encourage you to log into the event platform afterwards. We will share the link in the chat, and if you don't have it already, and you can then benefit from joining any of the 6 stages, meeting and connecting other people in the connection zone. You can also check up to 20 exhibits and find additional information in the resource library. By joining this webinar, everyone on the panel consents to the image and audio being broadcast. So for those of you who join via Zoom, we have the opportunity here to promote the participant to be featured on the screen with their cameras and microphones on. So if we do that, you also automatically give us the consent. The festival has strict broadcasting regulations. So if anybody is promoted to have their mix and camera on, we remind you that no logos, flags, or music are permitted in the background. So just let's start. We want to start with a video that to warm your hearts and your minds and to set the scene for the power of local actions, local stakeholders to move towards sustainable development. So please, if my colleagues could please share the video. Thank you and welcome.
In the largest gathering of the municipal world in Durban, eThekwini in 2019, mayors and governors from United Cities and local governments understood that they had a historical opportunity to deliver a new model anchored in the territories. The municipal movement presented itself to the next decade stronger than ever, embracing its origins, safeguarding local democracy and loyal to the values and principles of decentralization, gender equality, self-government, and accountability. 2020 started by delivering the transformative vision for our people and the planet. Then the world stopped. The way we all relate to each other radically changed, perhaps forever. Our cities and territories would never be the same. The COVID-19 pandemic is a magnifying glass that highlights who and what we are leaving behind. What do we mean by the commons? What should our commons mean? Who cares for us? Who do we need to care for? No single actor can bring change alone. In this tragedy, we have found the reasons to keep working as guardians of the dreams of our communities, as global actors with transformational and convening power. We might not know what is coming, but we know what we need to do. Municipalism is the proof that there is another way of going about politics. This challenge can become a foundational moment for our world that bridges local actions and global trends. A world that guarantees equal access to public basic services. A world that has developed an ecological transformation. A world driven by the next generation of human rights. A feminist world that cares and thrives with girls, women, boys, and men that are equally empowered. A world based on solidarity. United Cities and local governments, an equality-driven movement, is committed to facilitating the space for local and regional leaders to make this world a reality. We need to do it for the future, with the governments, with the people, with the planet.
Colleagues, I hope you can hear me. I've had some technical difficulties, but I'm very happy to be here with you today. I am Emilia Scythe, the Secretary General of United Cities and Local Governments, this municipal movement that is committed to transforming the world and to working towards a new contract, a new social contract for the future, one that we need to shape together. United Cities and Local Governments is a worldwide organization of cities, towns, and their associations from around the globe with over 250,000 members, for those of you that are not acquainted with our movement. It was already created in 1913, and we, UCLG, are the inheritors of that responsibility to transform the world in a way that it answers to the dreams and expectations of the citizens. And this is why we are so excited to be with you here today in the festival to celebrate what is happening at local level. We are convinced that global agendas need to be agendas that shape our future, because in fact we are all interconnected, but we are also convinced that those global agendas need to be linked with local realities, with that your grandmother, your father, your brother, your sister, and your aunt expect every day. How you feel when you walk to the school with your children, or when you go out and play, to a movie, to the theater, or to work. It needs to be shaped with the real experiences of the neighbors in the streets of the towns, the villages, and the cities of the planet. And this is why the Local4Action hubs need to bridge those two realities. What happens on the ground, what happens in your neighborhood, with those global actions and objectives that we all share. We have been mapping for many years everything that happens at local level. And we have been trying to influence global policies. But we think the best way to do it, beyond the books, beyond the reports, beyond talking for you, is to hear it from the people that actually do it. And today we have just a very, very tiny sample for you that summarizes what local action means. Responsibility for our global joint future, one single universal agenda. There is no agenda for the global south or the east or the west. What we want is very similar everywhere. We just want to be happy, to be safe, to be resilient, to have governments that are transparent and accountable. We want to shape our future. And we believe that the tiny sample of Local4Action hubs that we bring to you today can contribute to that. What do we expect from this session? We expect you, all these people that are watching us in this festival, to be inspired and to go to your local governments and say, you should be doing it too. We also want you to take responsibility and say, I can be a transformer as well. I can push for this. We know you are all activists. So please do get together with our people and bring these ideas to your local governments. And if you are not successful, do check in the website of UCLG, and we will make sure that we continue to inspire. So very simple objectives, inspiration with very serious proposals that are here of activities that are already working on the ground, and a very, very committed set of partners that are walking this long road with us. I really am grateful to the colleagues of UNDP for being with us today, but also so many others that are accompanying us in this transformative diplomacy, which is the diplomacy of cities. So I'll stop here because I can't talk for the whole afternoon, but that's not what you want. You want to listen to the real cases. And I will give the floor to my colleague, Firdaus Osindom, who is going to run us through some of these projects. But before she starts facilitating the next session, Firdaus, I wanted to have your feedback a little bit on how do you think that we can get more people to trigger actions locally through Local4Action HUBs or through other means? What do you think we need to do? What is the next step?
Thank you, Emilia. Indeed, we are very excited to have this workshop and this session. And really, the idea and the concept of transformation is what is triggering the whole world, especially now in the post-COVID. And to answer your question, really, I would like to say that we really thought, as you said it, but we really thought this session as for sharing and inspiring through local experiences to enhance and trigger others to believe that there is a transformation that is happening at local level, and to believe afterwards that this local transformation is transforming global dynamics. And this is what we are trying to do in UCLG through these Local4Action hubs. So I'm really looking forward to listen to these experiences that we will be listening to today. And if you allow me, I would like to begin with the first experience that is coming from the city of Xi'an, that is holding the vice presidency of UCLG, but that is also a very historical and very diverse, talking about culture. And this is what they wanted to put at the heart of their Local4Action hub. And we are receiving Mr. Shi Qi, Director of the Center of International Friendship Cities from Xi'an municipalities. Please, the floor is yours. Tell us about your experience.
Thank you for this. Thank you, Emilia. Dear friends, first of all, I would like to thank all those who have contributed to today's meeting. During the decade of action, Local4Action hubs provide a unique platform for everyone to better comprehend the implementation of SDGs and learn the innovation experience at local level. Today, I would like to take this opportunity to share the practices of Xi'an Youth Education and Dialogue Hub. I think we all agree that the pandemic has brought countless challenges, and the younger generation, however, has demonstrated unimaginable courage and strength during such special time. They are the ones who fought at the front lines, providing all kinds of public services to maintain the functioning of cities. President Xi Jinping once said, "Youth is the most accurate barometer of time. The responsibility falls onto them as well as the honor. As local and regional governments, it's our duty to thrive for their development. We need to promote education equality so that their capacity of addressing challenges will be fostered. We need to improve intercultural cooperation so that they can unite and coordinate better. We need to encourage them to be fully involved into global agendas so that a sense of mission looking forward to the future can be sold and grow. Concerning the city's advantages in education and cultural resources, Local4Action hubs initiative by UCLG was officially launched in Xi'an in May 2020, aiming at creating a platform of education and dialogue for global youth to promote communication and cooperation. First, focusing on intercultural communication, a professional technical perspective. Xi'an has set up a training program for civil servants inspired by SDG 4, 5, and 8. The program is designed to deepen the ideas of cooperation and communication among all UCLG aspect members and to drive the prosperous growth of Asia-Pacific region. Xi'an government joins hands with Xi'an Jiaotong University to provide students with 4 major related urban governance: smart city management with the big data, sustainable development and public governance, applied economics, and intelligence, energy, and power. The program is open to young generation civil servants in Asia Pacific to pursue master and PhD studies. with scholarship provided. Second, focusing on expanding global network, a global cooperation perspective. To implement SDG 4, 8, and 17, Xi'an plans to carry out a research program in higher education institutes on the curriculum citing about SDG-related courses. The program will be conducted through University Alliance of the Silk Road with 151 members, European top international manager in engineering associations with 57 members, etc. It will guide the young generation to pay more attention on the implementation of sustainable development through case studies. We would like to call on all institutes to attach greater importance to SDG and bring students with both rich academic knowledge and leading global mindset to the society. The course will be shared through those university alliance in order to build up a solid foundation for carrying the SDGs and promoting the cooperation and dialogue among youth. Third, focusing on the development of youth leadership and proposing youth initiative, a political initiative perspective. Youth needs to be heard and their concerns need to be addressed. To implement SDG 4, 8, and 11, Xi'an is building up a platform to enable dialogue among global youth leadership. We plan to hold global youth leadership training program and high-level youth dialogue forum annually, covering topics related to sustainable development, such as public health, poverty alleviation, gender equality, public services, economic development, environmental protections, etc. We're expecting to increase intercultural dialogues among global youth and hope that through training projects, understanding and consensus can be summoned, proposals can be made and heard. Dear friends, the themes of our times are still peace and development. I believe that implementing SDGs at local and closely linked with every human being with our future generation. Our planet, local governments should adopt people-centered development ideas, spread the thoughts of innovation, coordination, greenness, openness, and sharing to the world. And join hands and efforts to accelerate the implementation of SDGs. There is no doubt that Local4Action Hub is the key for the transition from thinking to action. Here, I would like to thank Ms. Emilia Scythe, who brought this marvelous foresight to us back to 2016 and has since been working it so hard for it. I hope appear to everyone to be with us for this Local4Action Hub initiatives. Join us to foster a global partnership and leave no one and no place left behind. Thank you. And now I would like to invite a student representative from Xi'an Jiaotong University, Ms. Wang Zhaojia.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Wang Zhaojia, a senior student at Xi'an Jiaotong University. Thank you for inviting me to share and exchange ideas with participants from all over the world. I was born and brought up in Xi'an, an ancient city with diverse culture. As an ancient historical and cultural capital, Xi'an bears cultural symbols and genes that have been passed down for thousands of years. About 1,400 years ago, in Tang Dynasty, this city has already attracted people from all over the world to travel and live. They saw with their own eyes how prosperous and diverse the city was. Affected by an inclusive and diverse cultural atmosphere, I have developed profound respect and understanding for different culture. Regarding Xi'an Jiaotong University, the word Jiaotong is taken from the Chinese classic Yi Jing, which means connecting the West and East, the past and present, and promoting cultural exchanges. By Xi'an Youth Education and Dialogue Hub, the university would interact closely with global network to improve the quality of higher education. Thus, a better service will be provided to our global community. Till now, there are altogether more than 3,000 international students in my university, and I have participated in different international projects and exchanged opinions with students from all over the world, through which our sense of mission and global perspective have been significantly improved. In September, I will volunteer to teach in rural area for 1 year to share knowledge with people in need and contribute to promote education equality. Under the framework of UCLG, Xi'an has launched Youth Education and Dialogue Hub, the initiative of which is not only in agreement with the comprehensive development of youth, but also focused on the global issues such as peace and development. With the guidance of Local4Action HUBs initiative and China's local government's focus on SDGs, more and more young people like me are paying higher attention to sustainable development and its implementation. As the decade of action starts, joint efforts should be made to contribute to the noble case to build a better future. Though the challenge ahead of us are tough, I'm confident that our planet will be a better place with our joint efforts. To conclude, I sincerely welcome you to visit Xi'an to feel the charm and hospitality of this city. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Wang. Yeah, you're right. Emilia said it. You're right completely, Xian. Thank you so much for this excellent presentation and inspiring words. And youth is always inspiring. I think that this hub is critical for the dynamic we want to launch at the global level. And I will keep one sentence from a critical sentence from Will also, that is, Local4Action hubs are a tool to go from thinking to action. And here is where the SDGs implementations falls into. And this is exactly what we are aiming to. Emilia, I saw in the chat that somebody was saying education should be made available not only at global level, but also at local level. I think this is what we are aiming to as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the issues that we need to make sure, you know, development only works well if you pressure it a bit like a sandwich, you know, to get the use of all the ingredients that are part of the sandwich. You need to make sure that you have global joint goals that you share and that are valuable for everybody, but you need to build the pillars at local level in real life. One of the problems that we face is, in particular with education, is that sometimes competencies are not in the right hands, you know, that local competencies are not broad enough to actually make it happen. But I am convinced that if citizens hold their local governments accountable, if local governments talk to the national governments and mobilize young citizens like in Xi'an, then it will be a success indeed. Very inspiring presentation. Congratulations, Xi'an.
Thank you so much. I invite you to go now to our second hub that is coming from Ecuador. Hello, Sofia Arce, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and tell us about your experience with the civil society engagements, critical for this session, critical for the engagement that we are looking for in implementing the SDGs. The floor is yours, Sofia.
Thank you, Firdaus. Well, first, good morning, good afternoon, good night to all of you. Receive a warm welcome, salute from Cuenca, Ecuador in Latin America. Well, we have a little presentation. If we can share the screen. Yes. Great, thank you. Well, as you can see in this presentation, I would like to talk you how all these SDGs and how the relationship with Cuenca started. Well, this relationship goes back to the Habitat 3 previous conference that developed in Cuenca in 2015, and the presence of the SDGs as a cross-cutting team for the Continental Forum of Intermediate Cities that was co-organized with UCLG in 2018. Also, Cuenca municipality has worked closely with the UNDP Ecuador for the SDGs territorialization. With the UNDP support, we trained technicians from Cuenca municipality so that all the municipality programs were aligned to the SDGs. So for the 2019, we had 233 projects aligned with the 2030 agenda. We work also with different international cooperation agencies for the implementation of each SDGs. For example, for SDG 5, we work with UN Women, and for the SDG 11, we work with the German Technical Cooperation. So, to enter with the local hub Cuenca, why locate the SDGs in a new post-COVID normality? Well, for us, the SDGs are a framework in which we can find a roadmap for the construction of resilience to face the COVID-19 pandemic, and especially its social economic consequences that have been severe in different countries. Why we say that this is a hub for intermediate cities? Well, with this program, Cuenca seeks to reaffirm its leadership among the intermediate cities. Cuenca is aware of the importance of this horizontal dialogue and the intermediation role played by the intermediate cities between the large metropolis and the small cities for the reinforcement of the city's network. In addition, this Local4Action hub, Cuenca, seeks to offer a mechanism for exchange and replication of this initiative to other intermediate cities. That is very important for us. We have also considered to systematize this experience so that other cities can reply this initiative if they want to do it. So we have developed this hub also as a participatory localization. And for this, we have prepared this virtual course, Introduction to the Localization of the SDGs, so we can talk with all the persons who are involved in local development in Cuenca in the same SDG language. So as a city, we can create and discuss in a cantonal table for the localization of the SDGs, which will be the space for different representatives from Cuenca, from the municipality, from the academy, from the enterprise, from the ONGs, can participate, organize actions aimed at implementing the SDGs at the territorial level. And our final goal as Cuenca is to prepare our first voluntarily local report. So, for all this dream that we have built in Cuenca, what is the strategy? Well, for us, the strategy is clear, is training for articulation. So the articulation of several actors as a robust territory planning aligned with SDGs through a training process and awareness campaign is the general objective that this program sees, which is the result of the cooperation and shared vision with several national and international allies. We all seek the innovative, sustainable, and international impulse of the municipal model and the local development. Localizing the SDGs is a technical task, but also a political one. And the current Cuenca administration wants not only to strengthen the technical capacities of its workers and local allies in Cuenca, but also to raise awareness to all citizens that from the different areas of their daily work, they can contribute and are already contributing to the fulfillment of the 2030 agendas. And this is very important for us because the person who is in charge of the procurement of drinking water or the one who works at the mobility department, or maybe the one who works at municipal child care centers, all of them with their daily work, they contribute to the 2030 agenda, and we want to create that awareness in our population. This virtual course, Introduction to the Localization of the SDGs, is an adaptation of the resources and methodological designs of the training module 1, Introduction to the Localization of the SDGs of UCLG. Of course, we have its license and suggestions to do this. And this course will deliver it will be delivered through an online platform and will include, well, classes taught by international experts, interactive games. So it will be fun to learn, bibliographical resources, and also a continuous assessment. So if we want to talk about who are going to be the beneficiaries of this implementation, well, first, the people who work for the municipality of Cuenca, those are around 1,200 people. We also will work with the representative managers of the NGOs, and those are around 200 people. And also we have created alliance with the chambers of commerce and industries to also deliver this virtual course to the people from the business and the industries. Those are another 200 people more. Also, we work closely with the 4 universities in the city of Cuenca. So we want also that this virtual course is available for the students. And finally, in order to summarize a little bit how the whole process of this virtual course was developed, first for us is the training to create awareness on our citizens. This generates a participatory learning process. With the knowledge that have been acquired, we generate a reflection, and it's important to generate also a critical perspective to build a collective or joint proposal for with these participant actors. And with this impulse, we seek an effective, coherent, and a participatory actions that will be the result of the agreements between the different actors that interact in Cuenca and that will interact in Cuenca in this cantonal table for the localization of the SDGs. We also have the presentation and words from our allies from the PADF. So please, Camila.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for all the attendees. Well, after your intervention, Sophia, I would like to emphasize on the cross-cutting key element for the localization of the 2030 agenda, which is articulation among partners. As you may know, Sustainable Development Goal SDG number 17 calls for a global partnerships for sustainable development. But how can we promote global partnerships without local actions? Well, the awareness raising program that my colleague Sophia just presented is a clear example of how participatory local actions through training as a strategy for a co-creation process can encourage the identification of existing gaps in the local reality. The program seeks to include actors that either directly or indirectly participate in decision-making processes, such as rural municipalities and civil society representatives, so they reflect this transformative progression towards the implementation of the 2030 agenda. Also, the Local4Action HUBs initiative shows us that through networking and by encouraging local learning actions, there exists a transformative power from different, both local and global perspectives to implement the 2030 agenda. Therefore, Sustainable Development Goal SDG number 17 and its representation of articulation is the guideline and inspiration to accomplish the principle of the 2030 agenda to leave no one behind. Additionally, what is the importance of articulation and which are the potential we identify as PADF for being part of the Local4Action Hub ecosystem? Well, articulation is the power tool to implement and design mechanisms that allows us to measure the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, together with different actors. Also, articulation gives us the possibility not only to share knowledge, but also to learn and to foster global connections towards a shared vision, such as global sustainability. How would we encourage other partners to join the initiative? First, by inviting them to consider the possibility of articulating, and by asking ourselves what opportunities can partnerships bring to our daily life activities. A great start for it is local articulation, as we mentioned, and the greatest example for it is the existing awareness raising program that my colleague Sophia just presented, where the local municipality of Cuenca is collaborating with an international non-governmental organization such as PADF to attain a shared vision towards sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Camila and Sofia. Very rich experience, and I know it is still an ongoing experience, which has shown already. Yeah, many thanks. That has shown already its result and impact. Emilia, how do you see this civil engagement in the Local4Action hubs?
There was a question about this in the chat, indeed, and I was trying to respond, and something went wrong there. Yes, in the Q&A segment. Well, I think it's a very critical component. Look, what differentiates local action from national action is that you are truly in touch with the neighbors, right? That you are serving, the proximity is so important, and people want to have a say in how things are shaped up. But what I really like about Cuenca's presentation is the acknowledgement as well that local government workers are also citizens, and they also need to be connected with this. Look, if you are in charge of making photocopies, then you might think that you have a very simple job. If you understand what those copies are going to be used for, you might have a different perception. If you are aware of how important your job is in the global environment, how you are bringing your city closer together to being sustainable, being resilient, beyond cleaning it, if you are in waste management, then I think you are actually triggering accountability, you are triggering responsibility and truly transformation. So indispensable to involve the citizens, but in this very active, innovative way, I think it's extremely useful. And I really like the learning component of it as well. Yeah.
Well, there is many ways. Thank you, Emilia. There are many ways of doing the learning, and our next experience is showing us another way of having the learning between partners. But this learning is at the service of the public service for the citizens. And I would like to invite our colleague Pablo Martinez from FAMSI to bring and present its own experience. I would like to remind you to be mindful of the time. 10 minutes for the presentation for all FAMSI with his partner. Thank you, Pablo. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here sharing this workshop. I am going to share a presentation. Okay. Well, I would like to start by underlining the central ideas behind the Local4Action Hub on public services led by FAMSI. The first idea is the key role that public services play to ensure and improve the quality of life of population, and the challenge that the local and regional government have in ensuring and reinforcing these public services as a key question, a key factor for advancing in SDG acceleration. But we need not only to reinforce the public services, but also to innovate, to move to a more inclusive and sustainable way of providing public services. And the local government are also a privileged space for this innovation that we need. So we think that the local governments accumulate know-how, best practices, successful management models in the provision of public services, and they must develop the capacity to cooperate with each other to reinforce the technical and institutional capacity to deliver public services and to face the challenges of the 2030 agenda. The Local4Action Hub, led by FAMSI, is based in the local experience of FANCI, in the promotion of technical cooperation initiative grounded in the local public sector in Andalusia. Andalusia in Spain, in the south of Spain, in the south of Europe, has a wide experience in the delivery of public services with a high level of decentralization, and many public enterprises that are benchmark in the provision of public services. In the same way, both local and regional government in Andalusia have a strong role in international cooperation, with a growing part of them focused on the technical cooperation on public services. So FANCI is a proactive actor in this environment as a network of more than 120 local governments with more than 20 years of experience in international cooperation, but also in local development, SDG localization, and other areas. And this leading role of FANCI is in searching synergies between the strengths and capacities of the Andalusian public ecosystem, working to develop its potential, involving more and more public services and public companies and public enterprises in long-term technical cooperation initiative with international partnership. As a result of this work, in the 2018, the first international seminar in public services and SDG was held in Huelva, with a parallel program of technical interchange with policymakers and technicians on public services. More than 140 participants from more than 14 countries, Latin America and Africa mainly. And this initiative was promoted in partnership with International City Network as UCLG, but also Mercociudades, ALAS, and the UNDP, with a previous work in identifying good practices and management model in public services around the world to participate in this meeting. And this meeting led to the creation of an alliance of public enterprises and local governments as an initial meeting point on the defense, on the reinforcement of the public services and the promotion of technical cooperation with these purpose activities that have continued over the last 2 years. In 2020, with the launching of the FANCI Local4Action Hub, reinforced this previous work and foster the alliance between local governments and public enterprises as a hub for interchange of experiences and to stimulate peer learning and innovation environments. The hub tries to inspire other local governments to join the initiative, fostering the replicability and the transference of management models on a large scale. And the hub is also a way to advance the synchronization between different governments working together. Within the 3 years of life of the Local4Action Hub, we expect to develop methodologies and strategies to advance in a model of technical cooperation from the local governments with triangular and south-to-south approach, promoting the mainstreaming of international cooperation in policy in local governments to involve more public enterprises and government areas in technical cooperation. We are developing a set of digital tools and databases and reference websites that can be used in the framework of methodologies we are developing. We expect to generate a repository of good practices and model of management models in public services that could be discussed by the local government as tools for accelerating the global agenda. And we also want to contribute to a wider political consensus on the need for reinforced and innovative public services as a key tool for the localization of the 2030 agenda. Working with allies and partners has been a crucial throughout all the processes of the Local4Action Hub, and the previous work continues in the hub with UCLG itself and city networks who have already shared initiative with us as Mercociudades and ALAS, but many other regional and national city local governments networks. The Andalusian regional government is also an important partner in the initiative, and at the multilateral level, the UNDP that comes along with us today to complete this quick overview from the perspective of one of the initiative's partners. So this is the end of this quick presentation. I leave you with Johannes Krasnitzer from the UNDP.
Well, many thanks, Pablo. I mean, it's a pleasure, and warm regards to so many friends and colleagues that I see I'm connected. Very short, two words on that one. First, for UNDP, it's public services is one of the crucial areas now for us. Why? Because it links really the governments in a very crucial area with the population. And there is one thing, the representativeness and the inclusiveness of public services is very important. We just launched a report a couple of days ago, which shows that if public services are more representative and more inclusive, they're not only more effective, but they're also creating this trust between the population and the governments, and even can sustain peace in fragile situations. So that's something very important. We have heard about education beforehand. In India and in Ghana, for example, there's a clear relation between the number of female teachers and how then girls are doing in school and how they can do then later in life. So that's interesting, and this is around where we are working together also with FAMSI there. For me to say, like with FAMSI, we have as UNDP 15 years of long-standing relation. We work together on so many areas, and then it came this public service initiative, which I think is very innovative and very, very interesting, and we are partnering in that. And that step now to transform that into a Local4Action HUBs under the auspices of UCLG, I think is exactly that step forward that we're looking for, where we can really take it even further than that already rich cooperation that we had in the past. So we as UNDP are really excited to continue that cooperation, to try how to see how we can get all this potential that is within the municipalities, within the networks that are taking into our programming, into our real actions and programs at the ground. So happy and very excited to continue to be a partner as UNDP. Thank you, Pablo, and thanks to all.
Thank you so much, Johannes. Thank you so much, Pablo Martinez. I think this was a critical one after the previous one. We saw how the citizens were able to be a multiplier of the implementation of the SDGs. And now we saw how the public services need to support this potential as well, as Johannes was explaining. I would like to go to our dear friend and partner also from UNDP, Diana Lopez. Diana, how do you see the synchronization, not only at the local level, throughout the citizens, throughout the public services, with this alliance with the private sector, but also with the UN agencies?
Well, I see we have so many young people connected today, and we have said in this narrative that we've been building through the years that Agenda 2030 is not for us, it's for them. They are the ones who are going to benefit if things turn around. And I think that at the end of the day, people that work in local governments, they know very well that they cannot do it alone either. It's not that the mayor that runs the city. The mayor runs the city together with the citizens, together with the private sector, together with alliance and partnerships with all. So my question for today, because it's very important that the young people that are listening today go to their local governments and ask them to mobilize for the SDGs and get on board and participate in public decisions, because this is your agenda. This agenda was not decided. I'm here in New York. The building where this was decided was a little bit behind me and it's closed down now. So it's terrible. We have to reopen this building and make it a building that decides and helps countries and helps local government to bring people along and to make Agenda 2030 a reality. So since you are all out there in the world, mobilize yourself and mobilize your local governments. Push your local governments for actions, because sometimes they really need a little push from citizens.
Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you. I think your words go in continuity of what Johannes was saying. This synchronization must happen between all this alliance, and we cannot do it without these actors that like Johannes are supporting with this kind of experiences at local level with FAMC. So thank you so much, all of you. Let's go quickly to our fourth and last experience before going to another kind of hub. This time we are going to the question of the open governance, which is key, and Johannes was talking about the trust with the local government. This is part of it, and this is critical. So open governance and climate action with civil society with the Local4Action Hub from Buenos Aires. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity to share our initiative in this session. I will share a short presentation. So good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone. I would like to start saying that the Buenos Aires community really thinks cities and local governments' action is essential to fight against climate change. That's why we committed to the Sustainable Development Goals in 2016, especially Sustainable Cities and Communities Goal and Climate Action Goal. In 2017, Buenos Aires became one of the first cities in the world to make a commitment to achieving carbon neutrality by 2050. The city has a comprehensive open government and climate action strategy, which includes emission reduction goals for 2030 and 2050, and other climate policies to generate a resilient, inclusive, and sustainable city. Still, the city government cannot meet these goals alone. To find innovative, impactful, and effective solutions, the city needs to draw on the collective action of citizens, civil society, organizations, and the private sector too. To make this possible, we created BA Climate Change. This is a digital platform that has three main objectives: communicate the existence of a plan with specific goals and actions designed based on evidence that anyone can analyze, comment on, and add new information through a one-stop shop, open information, and present it in an accessible, integrated, and user-friendly way to enable experts and civil society organizations to help us find innovative solutions and be a catalyst for collective action and cooperation. This platform was co-created together with 15 specialists, 20 civil society organizations, including the Democracy in Red, and more than 600 citizens who were asked what they needed the site to include, in what formats. It is really a digital platform designed by users for users. Designs contains various topics such as latest news on the city's leading climate initiatives, including information from more than 10 government areas in a one-stop shop. This, in addition to benefiting users, allow us to achieve a better internal organization, aligning different initiatives in a common goal. Cities emission reduction goals for the next decades, more than 30 datasets that can be reused by any user, interactive graphics on clean energy generation, existing infrastructure to promote sustainable mobility, comprehensive waste management, greenhouse gas inventories, air quality, among other information. proposal for the different city stakeholders so that they are also able to contribute to climate action, and existing collaboration and cooperation initiative with international organizations and global cities, and description of spaces for dialogue with civil society. This platform is an evolutionary platform that will add new data, information, and initiative for climate action in the city. We want everyone to be able to monitor how we advance in our commitments to be a carbon neutral, resilient, and inclusive city. In addition, we will soon add a playful component, the playful component. This component acts as a call to action on climate change for citizens in general and for young people in particular. Finally, I want to emphasize that the platform was designed in open source and that we have documented both the co-creation process and this management model so that it can be replicated by other local governments. Cities like Mendoza and Olavarria have come to us to replicate this initiative, and we hope that more cities will do so as well. Now I would like to give the floor to Democracy and Red team, Luciana Vega and Valeria Lisiani.
Hi everybody. Thank you, Javier, for the introduction about the platform. My name is Luciana Vega, and here with me is also Valeria Lisiani. We both are from Argentina and work at Democracy and Red. Democracy and Red is a civil organization that works with innovation, citizen participation, and technology. The government open area invited us to help co-create the platform via climate change. The project was developed in a context that forced us to migrate to a digital environment. So why did we co-create? The main goal was to incorporate the points of view of those who would actually use the platform. For this, we invited several actors who had different outputs and contributions to provide about it. The platform had two purposes. The first one was to show what the government was doing about climate change, and the second one was to encourage citizens to contribute with their actions. So to show the government policies, we began a process of research and interviews where we asked environmental and data visualization specialists what they wanted to see from the government actions.
Secondly, regarding citizen actions, we designed working sessions in which we ask citizens about their habits, their demands, and also their needs. This serves as a diagnosis to know in depth which actions to care for the environment they carry out, which ones they do not, and what the government can do to promote these actions. Later, to continue with the citizenship participation process, we consider it relevant to open a workspace where citizens were able to participate actively in the platform design as well. So in this way, we organized a hackathon to build mockups. These mockups were thought from the user's perspective, and the concrete result was the creation of 2 digital products, which you can see in the presentation that Javier showed. So now, to finish, we want to share with you our conclusions and lessons. The first one is that we emphasize the importance of ensuring the citizen right to participate even in virtual environments. Although it was a challenge, it was possible to achieve great results. And secondly, we believe that co-creation generates a collective intelligence that empowers public policies. In this way, we assure that these public policies really take into account the needs of the potential users. So that was it. Thank you very much for your time, and for any doubts or comments, you can contact us at democraciaos.org.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this presentation. I think the question of democracy, trust, and building this trust between the local governments and the citizenship, the communities, is key to implement the SDGs and to allow this acceleration to happen. Local governance cannot do it alone. They are structural, but the communities need to be there and join and make this synchronization together. I think, Emilia, we are right straight in the point.
Yeah, I think we have hit a gold mine, like they said in the old days. I think we have really found a way to connect the local and the global. It's something that local governments have been doing for a very long time. But with the Local4Action hubs, giving this visibility, creating opportunities for you to exchange among yourselves, I think you are also enhancing the capacity to engage citizens, to mobilize them, and I can see how over a period of only 1 year, all of these ideas have matured so much. What we love about this is that this is something that you were doing already, that cities around the world were doing already. It's not something that a far away organization like the United Nations or UCLG have pushed for. It is something that you were doing and that we are now connecting with what we do globally. And we really look forward to making it even more visible and spreading it around the world. And I am very happy to, in that trend of thoughts, give the floor to Carla Rey, to the next segment of this session before coming to a close. Carla, we have been trying to expand the environment and to create a space for different stakeholders to talk with each other. And I want you to share a bit how we have been doing it and what possibilities you see in the future. Carla is the Secretary General of the Italian Association of Municipalities and Regions, and has been an important ally for our World Organization to continue this path on local actions for SDGs. Carla, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Emilia. Thank you very much for the invitation. Congratulations for the section, also to Marina Ponti's team, because this festival is really incredible. And let me thank also, I saw Johannes, UNDP team for supporting us with this Local4Action initiative. Well, Emilia, let's start saying that we started with Venice City Solution 2030, that is the Local4Action of ICRE, and became a sort of Local4Action hub of the hubs, because it was born focused on SDG 17, the Partnership for Goals, which in a certain sense includes all the SDGs, or rather, it defines their community system, that is the ecosystem of the hubs. The ecosystem is a community of subjects in association with their physical environment that interact with each other. And from this definition is already clear how the ecosystem of the Local4Action hub is the opposite of the so-called silos approach. It's not a Leibnizian monad, but an osmotic system between local governments and all the actors of the SDGs. But how is our hubs ecosystem made? I think that it's primarily made up of many hubs that each express an excellence related to one or more SDGs at the level of local policies, as we heard before. And what is it for? Well, not to waste knowledge. As you said, the important experiences that already work locally. How does our ecosystem work? Well, it helps local and regional government to share, to learn from each other, to synchronize the actions that arise from the exchange and study between local authorities, to replicate the effect of the actions on a larger scale, from the local level to the global level, and to accelerate the goal of creating a sustainable environment, our word. What does this hub of the hubs produce? How is a hub identified in the Local4Action hub ecosystem? Well, we can call them experiences, solutions or good practices, which are screened according to two types of approach: a technical scientific approach and a humanistic social approach. The technical approach adopts hubs selection criteria, or selects the experiences that the hubs recount according to the adaptability of their proposals in different environments, different sector, different departments, but also the functionality of the advanced proposal with respect to the reference SDG, or the innovation of the idea, the concreteness in terms of results, the replicability of excellence in other geographical contexts, the non-overlap with other solutions, but the complementarity of the same, and the ability to scale up, that is to achieve results at national and international level from the local to the global. But the technical approach of defining the hubs would not be complete, exhaustive, if it did not also imagine another selection approach, which is for me the humanistic, the social, the anthropological approach, namely the look at the hub for its ability to stimulate behavior in citizens, to develop a culture of SDGs, his empathic approach, which pushes the collective towards a sense of the common good, using the trust of the emotions of individuals, and the ability to become an integral part of a community story within the ecosystem of the hubs. So why does our Local4Action Hub ecosystem work? I think, first of all, because the local approach is very different from the national one and has a better chance of producing more immediate results. This does not depend on the skill of local authorities or on the inability of central governments, but from their approach to problems and the structure they have. Local governments, unlike central governments, have more integrated view of the policies to be adopted, while ministries work by sector. The local approach is more flexible, while the national approach is more rigid, giving to the lower ability to react to changes. Bureaucracy has an even stronger impact on large organizations, while it can be more easily eliminated at a local level, also thanks to the contribution of local stakeholders. And the speed of implementation of innovative solutions, such as those of the hubs, is it's greater at the local level. To conclude, I think that the purpose of the Local4Action Hub is to facilitate the acceleration of the achievement of the goals of the agenda, because we believe that 2030 should be the deadline to save our planet. And we are also convinced that local authorities have a fundamental role in this activity, just as we believe in their concreteness, in their solutions adopted at the local level. The Local4Action Hub does become a tool, a platform that is made available so that globally, dialogue and exchange between all the stakeholders are the cardinal principle of our change, the change we want. So that's our ecosystem. And please join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carla. I cannot think of a better way to present how all of these experiences are connecting the dots. And I am very pleased to wrap up this session with good news, because we have newcomers, new initiatives that want to join this movement. And I am very pleased to give the floor to Jorge Perez Jaramillo, who works in the Department of Antioquia, a very important region of Colombia. He's also a UCLG Ubuntu advisor, but is working now in one of our members' territories. Antioquia has gone through a very interesting exercise, and we really think it is a Local4Action Hub. Jorge, 3 minutines.
Okay. ¿Debo hablar en inglés, Emilia?
You better.
Okay. Well, we are in Antioquia. Our capital city is Medellin, which is so famous, so you must know where we are. We're in the northwest of South America. And Antioquia is a big territory with 125 municipalities, and our governor, Aníbal Gaviria, and the governor in charge with Fernando Suarez are leading a project that has been inspired in the idea of unity. And everything is based upon the SDGs and the new urban agenda. So we have been working in the idea of having the global agreement of our municipalities around this. And also we were able to react to the pandemic, including in our development plan recently adopted all the issues about how to become resilient against the pandemic. We have very differentiated communities. We have many kinds of municipalities and towns, strong diversity, a strong biodiversity as well. The governor declared the climate change emergency for the region. And what we are doing now is, as we are a department, not a municipality, inviting all the stakeholders and all the municipalities and all the leadership of the region to work together through a social dialogue to create what we call Antioquia Agenda 2040. It's the 2040 agenda for the region that should be a strong agreement prioritizing all our challenges and our wills together. So, well, what we say is that being members of UCLG will become a very powerful tool to complement our job and to involve all the stakeholders among a global discussion that will become positive and a strong contribution for a more equitable and more sustainable development for our region and for the world. So, well, we're very glad to be here. We're very glad to participate. And I hope next meeting will be together with Claudia Garcia, our planning director, that should engage the next time. Thank you, Emilia, and thank you all.
Thank you very much. We look forward to including that Antioquia vision in our Local4Action hub. I think you can have many hubs in Antioquia. Welcome to this community, already a very active member of UCLG, but now a new community within that large family. I am told that the screen will be cut off in 3 minutes. I have had a lot of fun. I have had inspiration. I think that our hearts are beating a little bit faster than when this session started. We have a lot of hope in what you do. And so we can only encourage you. Anybody else that wants to say anything, you have 1.5 minutes, just say it. Or we just say goodbye and encourage you to keep working together. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Take good care and continue celebrating in this festival. Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you, the team.
Bye.
Thank you all. Thank you,
Bye
Maria.
bye.
Bye-bye.